Good morning, folks. This is the special edition of Story Behind the Story. I'm Sierra Melker, founder of Red Thread Publishing. We are joined this morning, very early in California this morning, with the unadjectivable Stacey Dyson. I just made up a word, and that's how we're rolling this morning.
Okay.
It's a word. It's awesome.
Okay. It is now.
It is. Stacey is one of the incredible co-authors of The Anatomy of a Book, which we are making no qualms about. This is an incredible new book. 20 authors have contributed their insight, their wisdom, their expertise, their let me tell you the truth about what it is to write a book. And Stacey, I think your chapter maybe more than anybody else's is that like behind the scenes moment of gut punch, but also like why we do it anyway, especially more than once.
That more than once part will kill you quite.
But that's what your chapter is about. It's like you've written, you've published, and what happens after that. And so like your second book, now that you know what you're getting yourself into, I love your chapter because it gives the raw roller coaster.
It was very raw. Took me a couple of days to recover raw.
I was going to ask you about the writing of your chapter, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should let it rest. All right. Give us a snapshot, not all the spoiler alerts, because I do want people to buy the book, read the book, and have it wow them then. But you've published 2 poetry collections in the last 6 months and contributed to a chapter in this book. These are the incredible books of Stacey.
Check out those covers, folks. Aren't they gorgeous? Sierra did that.
And the words on the inside are awesome too. Stacey did that
too.
Lovely and Suffering and Follow Me on This are Stacey's incredible contribution to the world so far this year. Tell us about writing the chapter in this collaborative book.
First of all, it wasn't what I meant to write. I had started off on something completely different. I think I was getting ready to talk about how to be a performance coach or some such disgusting thing. And then it hit me, you know, if you're going to kind of give folks a template for what this looks like, write about what you just went through. Write about that second book, because there are so many hopes, wishes, dreams, expectations visited on that second book. It is the ultimate pressure. Okay. You know, the Sade song, never as good as the first time. And so you spend a lot of time worrying about, is this going to be as good as the first one was? Is this going to have the same effect? And there are some truly, I hate the word gut-wrenching, but that's what it is. There are some truly gut-wrenching moments where you're sitting there going, I quit. I'm just going to business law like my mama wants me to. You know, I'm going to, you know, go on to the land and, you know, make my contribution that way, because there are points where it's just, okay, I can't do this again. It's too much. It's just too much. Emotionally, it's, you never get to, it's never a point of swinging between despair and exaltation. You're just in despair all the time because you're worried about, can I do this again? Are people going to read this again? And, you know, then the ultimate realization, this is garbage. I'm going to have to do it again, you know, that sort of thing. So while I was writing it, I kept thinking, okay, I can make it sound pretty, or I can tell the truth. And finally, I just decided, you know what? Why lily guild? Tell people what this really feels like. The frustration, the anger, tell them everything. because it's not fair to lead somebody down the garden path saying, it will be fine, just follow these steps, because it won't be, and everybody's steps are different.
And this is so important. I know that the first book has that roller coaster in it, but you don't know the ride. The second book has those ups and downs, and you know what's coming. And then you have the reference of, my last one was this. Can I ever do it again? What if my best is behind me?
And that particularly was a big concern. It's like, okay, Lovely and Suffering made a lovely little splash.
Yep, this one.
But interestingly enough, and I don't know if I referenced this or not, Follow Me on This was supposed to happen first.
Yep.
Follow Me on This has been on the boards for, oh Lord, at least 5 years.
Yeah.
And
because this is a collection of poems you've been writing for 10 years. Right? This chronicles a decade. So you knew that it was happening. Yeah.
And so there was that whole thing, it's like, okay, New Kid on the Block, it makes all this flash. Is the one that you have been planning for 10 years, writing for 10 years, going to be any good? First of all, are people going, there's always are people going to like it? Now, I can sit here and say all day long, it's about the work. I don't care if people like it or not. Yeah.
You theoretically care. You totally effing care.
Exactly. This is something that you tell people, when I'm teaching class, I always tell them, it doesn't matter if it doesn't sing to anybody else, as long as it sings to you. In theory, absolutely. Okay. And at the end of the day, as much as I hate that phrase, in fact, it really doesn't matter. But for the way the world works, yeah, it kind of makes a difference.
It helps if other people like it too.
And let's so, just say that, I'm compiling all these poems and I'm writing some new ones, and all the time in my head, I'm going, this isn't Lovely and Suffering. This isn't Lovely and Suffering. It's just, there's that squirrel running around in the cage in your head. Yep. And then there's the technical part, because the technical part was easier this time, to a point.
Because you knew the ropes, you had just
because I knew the ropes at that point, but still there are always, I hate the word challenges. That word cropped up probably about 20 years ago. People started using it instead of problems. I'm sorry, I'm old school. They're problems. Screw challenges, okay? They're just straight out 100% problems. And so there were all these new problems cropping up that, cost me some tears, quite honestly. Yeah. When we were getting ready to put this book to bed, almost, and there was a problem with the cover resolution, I cried. I actually did. I was like, I was so tired and so worn out, and I thought I was finished. And I get this note, and it's like, are you high? I can't.
Can I pause you for a second?
Sure.
Okay. I want to flash forward. I think I completely agree with you that authors need to know the shit fight that is creating a book.
Right.
Straight up, whether you're doing this on your own, whether you're doing this with a publisher, even if you're like concierging and having it done for you, it is still an emotional and logistical roller coaster of the soul, right?
It's terrifying.
I like the ground. Some people like roller coasters. So if you like roller coasters, I need you to think of another metaphor that you would never do. Okay. But we do it. And I want to flash forward.
Okay.
Because hopefully either people who are listening are running from the possibility of ever publishing, or
Run,
they
run
really,
fast, run far.
or they really want to know what's the outcome of publishing the second book.
You get to breathe. Okay. It takes once you know that once that button hits go, it's like for better or worse, you're done. You can't take it back. You can't fix it. You know, so if your reputation is going to be in shreds and they are going to come and take you away to the nearest basket weaving
You're
emporium,
really good at encouraging people to write, aren't you?
I'm getting there.
Okay, I'll let you get there.
It's a done deal. Okay, you can't fix it. It's finished. The good news, I told you we would get there. The good news is that it frees your mind up. It's not the thing that's on every single synapse every single second anymore. So, I mean, first of all, there's a lot of coulda, shoulda, woulda. Oh, I should have used that one, or I should use that phrase, or that nonsense. And that's what it is. It's nonsense. It's just the stuff that's been cluttering your head, kind of like going away.
Yeah.
There's a whole new clear space and a whole new canvas that says, oh God, I lived through it. Okay, now what do I do?
Yeah.
And the second or third or fourth or fifth or whatever time you have to answer that question, it gets easier.
Yeah.
It would feel like it didn't. It doesn't get easier in terms of creativity. You're always trying to top yourself. You're always trying to, something different, something bigger, whatever. But it gets easier in terms of, I know how to do this. I know how to manipulate this. I know how to evoke whatever feeling I'm trying to evoke, and I don't have to struggle so hard. The third book, which is already in my head, God Save Us All, started coming in almost immediately because my slate just went, whew, okay, tabula rasa, I'm clear. Okay. That makes life easier, and it makes it more possible that you will keep doing this, because this is the carrot at the end of the stick.
Yeah.
Okay, that brief flush of sanity.
And permission to brag about you?
Feel free, since you know I won't.
I know you won't. Somebody's got to. So Stacey's published these 2 solo books in the last 6 months. She's contributed a chapter to the anatomy of a book. And just before we hit record, we were talking about the submitting of the chapter for another book, Feisty. So 4 books, 2 solo books, two chapters in other books in 6 months. You just came back from an incredible speaking opportunity with your people that totally lit you up. You've hired an events manager. Is that what she is?
Events manager, social media consultant.
Okay. And you're packing a bag and going somewhere else to present and to do your things. The vibrancy, the life, the energy, the like, what else can I do is like turned on, instead of the, can I do this? Can I make it through this day? Can I, right? It's
exactly. And
what else? What else? What else?
It's the, for me anyway, it's the ultimate payoff. Because I am not just, I've never been content to just have it on paper. I've got to put it out in the wind. And that means moving, physically moving and going to other places. And so the packing the bag and the going to another place and the standing up in front of my first live audience, that wasn't, friends and family, in 2 years. Yeah, that was absolutely, that was past the payoff. That was transformative. That also spurred the possibility that there would be a third and a fourth and a fifth book. Because when you do what I do as a performance poet, you're always worried about do I still have what it is I had?
Right.
Can I still get an audience on their feet? Okay.
Yeah.
Can I still, get the audience to tear up? Can I get the audience to laugh with me?
Mm.
And I personally go through this at the beginning of every season. COVID delayed that for 2 years. So I got up in front of that audience in El Paso, and it was like, okay, these poems sound really good, online where people can't talk back or get up and leave the room or whatever. Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
2 standing ovations later, I was pretty sure I was okay.
You still got it. Well, and so this, I, as a writer myself, I'm a little envious, admittedly, of the getting to see the audience, to getting to like, is it landing? Because when we write a book, what you described of like the whole process of putting this book together is like, do I still have it? When you walk on stage, you pretty much know if you have it or not. Right?
Right.
And the it's the same thing whether you're putting your heart and soul into a book or you're laying it out.
Mhm. Nothing I can do from this end. I'll just wait. Oop. Did she kill it?